Hello, I'm Danusia Malina-Derben, host of Parents Who Think. In this episode, I'm joined by Rosie Sherry, a mother of 5, entrepreneur, and bold advocate for home education. Rosie didn't just take her kids out of school, she rethought the whole premise of what education, work, and parenting should look like. We talk about the broken logic of schooling systems, the myth of productivity as worth, and what happens when a woman chooses to live completely on her own terms. If you've ever felt that conventional life structures weren't built for you, this one's for you. Hi, Rosie. Welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Tell us, why did you become a homeschooler?
Good question. I think there's something in me that kind of always didn't want to put my kids into school. I always felt like it was kind of a bit of a system that you get put into and you kind of end up not being able to thrive within yourself. To begin with, I didn't put them in homeschooling, but I thought about it a lot and we tried out a couple of different schools. But in the end, it's like my heart kept saying, I really don't believe in the system. Like we had a really bad experience at one private school, and that put me in my head that said to me, is that no one is ever going to do the best by my children other than myself or my husband. It kind of it was a real shock to me that people who are supposed to be looking after your children can actually be totally against them. So that was a real kind of slap or even punch in the face when they basically treated us really, really badly. I could see little signs of him being frustrated and angry and not happy. Do you want to homeschool? And he was like, yes. So we took him out and I had no idea what I was doing. But I think getting to that point of actually saying, I'm taking them out of school, I don't want them to be in school, was kind of that big mental step. It's really hard to make that kind of jump because it's not just taking them out of school. It's like everything around you in life is, you have to end up restructuring or reevaluating, rethinking, that it's not just the kids, it's my life as well.
Yes.
And even my husband's life. So it's like everything from that point on has been literally taken day by day, looking at it and thinking, what is the best thing we can be doing right now to make our lives work as a family?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably been the biggest challenge for me.
Before we go on this, what is it about the education system that you could see that your sons weren't thriving? What actually, also, I'm really asking, what is it you don't believe in?
I don't believe in the number of hours they should be at school. I think it's too many hours. I don't believe in the curriculum. I look at the curriculum and I'm like, no wonder kids get bored.
Yes.
It's just stuff they learn is not relevant.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do they need it for?
Yeah.
Oh, what about life skills instead of rote learning? Certain, it's like, what do they need this for?
Exactly. And there's so much of it. And it's like, I don't think kids can really connect with what they've been taught. And that's a big problem. It's not relevant. It doesn't keep up with the world. It's not what they're interested in. It's designed by someone who doesn't understand really who the kids are and what they should be learning. It's streamlined, so it might be good for one child or 2 children or a handful in the class, but not the rest. So school, I believe, can work for some people. It's so hard to customize it per child.
That's one of the big challenges, isn't it? How to customize the learning experience for each child. I mean, wow, what a challenge.
I feel for teachers. I feel bad for them because it's such a, I wouldn't want to be a teacher because I think it's impossible. Such an impossible task. I also don't believe that kids all around the same age should hang out with each other for so much. There's a book that I read a while back called On to Your Kids. It talks about peer attachment. And that's basically, it talks about how children do not need generally other children to succeed in life. It's like society at the moment is so obsessed with the social circle, the friends, and all these, there's so much pressure for kids to be around other kids and how important that is. But that has totally been flipped from what it was from before the 1950s, where the families grew up together, the parents supported the children, or it was a family that supported the children. There was that real close kind of connection. There's a community, the local neighborhood or neighbors, all those kind of things. But, all that's been lost because now it's kids have to be with kids. But that in reality can be such a bad thing for kids growing up, because kids end up attaching to other kids and they can't get the support they need from friends, obviously, because their friends are not mature enough. Then, they're still children. And the children, their friends can't give them the support that they need. It needs to be like the adults, parents, family, who give them that mature kind of support.
And children often don't have enough people of maturity in their lives.
They don't.
They don't. They have friends. They have friends. That's what they now focus on, is my friends, my friends, my friends. That's what matters. And schools also constantly talk about the need for more social, kind of just the benefits of being with their peers. And I've had to say to them with one of my triplets, well, how about he's an introvert? How about that he doesn't seek that? He actually prefers the company of either himself or adults, which is true. You're like, oh, but what about? And I'm like, he's actually a triplet. He doesn't lack peer time. It's like, it's not like being an introvert, for instance, is a problem. It isn't.
They're not made to feel like it's okay to be an introvert.
Yeah, and to seek solace in their own space. It's like that's a problem. When I don't see it as a problem, because ultimately one of the things that we don't get taught is to be at peace with our own company. It's a life skill to be okay and to self-reassure, as opposed to look for reassurance and validation outside of ourselves.
I mean, my son, it's amazing to look at him. He's never been to school. So I think he's, I can see the difference between him and my two elders who did go to school. He knows what he wants. And he's very confident within himself, and he's not afraid to stand up for what he believes in. But I honestly believe if he was in a school environment, he wouldn't be the same. And I know that there's certain things that he absolutely hates doing, dressing up or getting on stage, that he would be forced to do at school. To put any child under that unnecessarily just because that's the way things are at school, that's what schools do, I think is quite unfair.
What's society worried about in home ed?
There's a lot of theory behind it. There's perhaps the government trying to get control over things. They use home ed as a way to say that abuse is being hidden in families. Well, I find it crazy that there's no trust in the system or trust in parents that we can have the freedom just to try to do the best by our children. And there's this whole system of schooling that's been built up that people try to pretend that it works, but it doesn't really work. But it's a system in place, and that's a system that allows parents to go to work, because, if you took away school, then parents couldn't work, and then God knows what would happen then.
Well, it's an organising force in society, isn't it? It's a stabiliser. It's seen to be a stabilising, controlling force, surely, that if we dare to give parents or take away these structures, society would collapse. Yeah. There'd be anarchy, there'd be something, there'd be just like, people would be doing things and we couldn't control them.
People would.
Oh, that would be dangerous.
They would have new ideas and new thoughts.
No, imagine, innovation might happen.
Yeah, imagine.
Yes, imagine. So I'm really glad you mentioned work. You're not a stay-at-home mum. It's an amazing job. Obviously, we both know that. But you've actually also created a really vibrant, successful business life, yeah? Alongside.
Yeah, I do all right. I used to be a software tester. So that's like a career path in the tech industry.
Yep.
So I started that before I had kids. And then after I started having kids, I realized that nobody wanted to hire me because I had kids.
Oh.
So I said, this is fun.
Oh, great fun.
So, it's quite a common story,
yes,
I would say. Mm-hmm. I basically started an online community for testers. And over the years, I kind of built it up. And in the back of my head, I thought, it'd be nice to turn this into something that I can make money from. Every year it grew bit by bit and people liked what I was doing. And then fast forward to today, we've got conferences or events happening across the globe, from San Francisco to Australia and New Zealand, and some in the UK, some in Europe, the Netherlands, Germany. We've got a team of 10 people now working with us. And I honestly think it comes back down to me and being a woman and just being fed up with the way that other businesses are run. I just looked at them and I said, I don't want to be like them. The business world is extremely transactional. It's like, I'll do this for you, but only if you do this for me. You know, I'm not going to give you something unless I'm guaranteed to, you know, get something back. Or,
yes.
You know, all of that kind of mindset is like, I don't like it. I think everything's measured these days. All of that transactional stuff to help me grow what I know is growing in a positive way. I know that, like, when people come to me and they say, you've changed my life, I was like, oh, that's, you know, good enough for me. It's like, and I think the challenges that I've had is that, yes, this community is growing and I'm doing right by the community by delivering what they want. But I didn't necessarily want to have 10 conferences across the globe. Not with 5 kids. That filled me with utter stress in, you know, the first year or two that we were doing that. So I was like, okay, we'll do them, but I didn't really want to do them at all. So it's like I had to try to figure out ways to make that work.
Yes, figuring out ways to build what the community needs, but that actually you don't necessarily want for yourself and your family lifestyle.
I wanted to keep the community happy, and it's a hard thing to do. The community doesn't really see it from like the business perspective either. They don't see the challenges of trying to grow something. As a founder, I've made sacrifices too. It's like, you know, I've sacrificed money over growth. And I'm not money driven, but, you know, if in your head you're given the choice, well, I could stay small and make, you know, plenty of money, or I could grow and build a great thing and potentially make more and more money down the line, but you just don't know. That's a big risk from my perspective.
Yeah.
I would love just to work for myself and not have all these responsibilities and just have enough income. I think that's a dream for me, but I think it's important to see it from different sides of the coin. People in different positions, people want different things. I thought I wanted what I have now and perhaps even running it all. I thought, yeah, I can do that. But actually the reality was like, no, I really don't want to do it.
Well, the thing is, you can do it and you have done it. It's just that it doesn't bring the lifestyle that you want. Capable women can do a lot. You know, we can turn our hands to a great deal. It's whether we want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's having that discernment to actually choose, oh, yes, I could do that, but that's not right for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, in my heart, it's like, me, I want some time for me and stop. It's like, you know, I look at people who take leisurely strolls along the beach for a morning. And I'm like, oh, I think I should be doing that more often, just like taking the morning off. But I'd never get the chance to do that because there's just so much going on all the time.
That's inherent in having quite a lot of kids, isn't it? And having big breadth in terms of business and all of that you've created, but a yearning to have space for yourself. And out of that, I would imagine something really quite magical will happen, apart from the fact that, you know, you'll actually get some space for yourself, which is the critical thing. But I can't think that your little genius brain there is gonna kind of dormant for too long, Rosie.
Yes, I know. My husband always tells me to stop, or he says, I can't keep up with you, Rosie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I'm the type of person. So once you have 5 kids, and you look at people without kids who complain about not having time, you're like, you've got no idea what life is like with spirits and that. Within me now, it's just like, it's almost like, I think in my DNA that I just can't sit still and do nothing. I need to keep active. But, you know, going for walks is keeping active as well. It's just defining what that activeness means for me.
Exactly. Giving yourself the space to do that is going to be really important. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation in offering, you know, that kind of, what some people might say is an upside down perspective, an outsider view, different, whatever it is. Thank God that you're beating the systems and you're really, really doing things differently. So thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
What Rosie brings is clarity. The kind of clarity that comes from living in a way most people don't dare to. She's not offering a blueprint. She's showing what's possible when you pay attention to what actually works for your life. If this conversation stirred something in you, sit with it, honour it, and remember, you get to change the rules. Until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and as ever, be kind to yourself.